Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to the Safe and Sound Texas audio excursion. This is part 2 of my interview with the owner and president of RTI in Camarillo, California, Don MacInnis. You know, Don runs the operation there from the receiving area through the plating area, and of course, pressing, quality, and shipment and packaging out. It's an ongoing operation, runs 5 days a week, and it keeps things humming there in that little industrial area just north of Los Angeles. Now, one of the things Don showed me was his mass library of hardware of past work that they've done. And he pulled out a few and showed them to me. A lot of mobile fidelities were in there, as you might imagine. And this hardware, whether it be mothers, fathers, stampers, whatever was left, is kept in case somewhere down the road there is a demand to repress. Now, honestly, a lot of times there isn't, but he's there at the ready to be able to act if it's needed. And it's an impressive walk through memory lane. I saw many titles that I recognized from my own collection. It's really cool to see that part of the history and to hear the stories Don has to tell. So we're going to talk here in part 2 about more recent matters, things post-COVID, and how the business was operating. So sit down, take a moment, grab a coffee, and let's hear the rest of Don's story. So let's say post-COVID now, there have been more plants that have come online.
Yeah.
And demand is, although it's still increasing at a slower pace, what have you guys seen, the last few years? Or
Well, the demand is still there. It's not growing at the 17% annual rate, but I think the vinyl market growth for 2025 through June, the first 6 months, was over 6% year over year.
Okay.
To last year. So nothing's wrong with that. But excuse me. Not only has there been a lot of additional capacity added by new plants, but the big existing plants have also got a lot bigger. So, they're adding dozens of machines at a time in the plants in the U.S. and in Europe. So that added a lot of capacity, and then lots of new plants. I think there were 82 record pressing plants of one size or another. Some might be 1 or 2 presses, and some might be 50 presses in the U.S. In, say, December of 2024, a year ago, almost a year ago. There's been some closures, though. There's been several closures of startups that just didn't make it. And the effect on us is that we lost volume, that we weren't getting as many orders from major labels because they were, in some cases, tied in contractually with the big plants, and the big plants said, okay, we have more capacity, give us more work, and they had to do it.
Gotcha.
So the things that we used to do for instance, Sony, with doing Adele or Dark Side of the Moon, where we would get an order of Dark Side of the Moon for 50,000 units. Well, that's gone. We don't get any of that kind of thing from major labels anymore. It's back to our core, which is independent labels, Sub Pop, Drag City, Touch and Go, Smells Like, all kinds of those type of labels, and and then the audiophile things, particularly audiophile labels or audiophile projects that now the majors are getting into, like the Tone Poet stuff with Blue Note, which is part of Universal, and now the one-step things with Impex Records or with Tom Berry's Slow Down Sounds, those kinds of things. Warner is doing some one-step things with us. That's part of the Because Sound Matters.
Oh yeah, okay, that's Warner. Okay,
Yeah, Kraft is doing things. So we're getting all kinds of those things, which is our forte.
yeah,
But it's not enough it doesn't give us 4 million units a year. It gives us 60% of that.
okay,
So we've had to adjust. We had over 80 people working here 2 years ago, and now we have 48. So we've just got to roll with it.
yeah, size to the demand, right?
But it has, I think for us, it's definitely bottomed out, and it's growing. There's new initiatives coming from Universal that we're involved in. The 2 different Verve series. Universal is really getting into direct-to-consumer sales, subscription services and things. So the Verve, 2 different Verve series are being done here that's 2 titles a month for each of those. And they're also getting into another series called Vinyl File, and it's more, it's a broad spectrum of genres. It could be pop, it could be jazz, it could be country, rock, and they're going to be doing 2 titles a month on that series. And this is all premium, 180 gram, good mastering, 3-step stuff, not the 1-step, but the 3-step.
Are those just selling in the general market, or is it subscription based?
I don't know what they're all doing, but for instance, the Vinyl File, I don't know, but the Verse series is subscription.
Okay, got you. So one of the things I think that you guys had a reputation for being a premium pressing plant for high-end audiophile records only. And, I can see Concord out here,
right.
a lot of, so really, it's not just that, but the same product come out, just like it would for an audiophile,
right.
In terms of the way you do what you do, which I'll show on the tour of the QC and the efforts that you guys go through to manually check the quality of the product, which some automation assumes in its way of making the record and just jacketing it immediately. So there's more human intervention and evaluation in the QC and review before packaging area that I think is important to understand. The way records are made isn't always 100% the same way in terms of the whole process. I mean, spitting out the record from a puck, that's one thing.
Right.
But there's a whole lot more on the front end with the plating, and there's a whole lot more on the back end with the quality and the packaging too that go with it. One thing I think your company has is a certain longevity of people working here and really positive feel in the facility and talking to people. And I think that's a testament to how long you've lasted too.
Yeah. We have really good people who are excited about what we do. That they really appreciate that they're making something that has a worldwide reputation of being very good quality product. So that we cultivate that quality,
Yeah.
quality all the time, and they appreciate that. They learn. We want our people to make decisions, and they're empowered to make decisions. And if it happens that it's the wrong decision, that's okay.
Learn from it.
We talk about it and learn from it. But it's not a a hierarchy where myself and the managers are above and beyond.
Yeah, overlording the organization. Yeah, you can see
Anything
that.
like that. Yeah, there's a lot of collaboration from the bottom level up. So it's a good place. A lot of those practices were established in the beginning with Bill Bauer, and we've just followed through with them, and refined things, and we've grown considerably since we took over, and Bill was he was very quality oriented, but he just didn't get it. Sometimes he was just perplexed about how people, audiophiles in particular, about how are they hearing things that I can't hear or what? He was like, I don't quite get it. And I said, well, neither do I, but I do get that they hear it. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I am not an audiophile. I love music, but I really love live music. That's my thing. But I used to really chase a lot of live music all over the greater Los Angeles area. But I've slowed down from that. But I do love live music. But and as I said, our customers tell us what they want. We didn't develop the 180 gram record and then put it out and try to sell it to our customers. Our customers came to us and said, in the case of the 180 gram record, it was Tam Henderson of Reference Recordings. They had been pressing in Japan at the JVC plant. When it closed, they just closed that plant. And so he started looking for another place to do it. He was aware of us, and he came and talked to us about pressing Reference Recordings here. And he said, well, but we got a 180 gram record from Japan. Can you do a 180 gram record? Well, we haven't done it before, but we can look into it. And that's how that developed. We worked with him, and then once it was something that he was satisfied with, we started showing it to other labels. We took stampers, let's say Sheffield Lab or Mosaic Records, that we were pressing regular weight records on, and then also set it up to press 180 gram just on our own initiative.
Oh, I see.
To send test pressings to Doug Sachs for Sheffield, or Charlie Lurie or Michael Cascuna for Mosaic, or Chad for his stuff. Joe Harley with AudioQuest. Here is our here's what we can do now. And they were all like, okay, we want this. This is what we want. Okay, you got it. And it just took off.
Yeah, and it's very normative now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, it got overdone because labels that were putting out titles that had no business being on 180 gram vinyl.
It was just a selling point.
It wasn't going to make a bit of difference in the sound. We're putting that out all over the place, and it kind of really hurt.
Yeah, it kind of dirtied
Yes,
the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's see, the one-step process. One-step process is not unique to audiophile. The college choir and the high school band, those kind of records that we did.
Yeah.
And also the syndicated radio program. That was all one step back 45 years ago. They cut the lacquer. It was a small, only.
Yeah,
a
you
small
said that
quantity
originally.
did it. We just.
So why did it then now become, kind of a...
Well, some people started thinking about the one step as being a closer generation to the original, to the master tape. Okay, and you had the master tape, you had the lacquer, and you had the stamper.
That's it.
No additional mother or master before. Yeah, that's the potential there for a better sound quality.
Right.
There's it's somehow in the process of all this electroforming, well, okay, maybe there's a little degradation here in the overall presentation. And the first audiophile that I'm aware of that inquired about it and had us experiment with it for him was Kavi Alexander of Water Lily Acoustics.
Really?
And he was up in Santa Barbara, and he said, I want to do one step, some of my records on one step. And we did. And when we saw what he wanted, we said, hey, of course we can do that, but you need to understand that
limits.
Yes. And if on a one step, if you get a lacquer here, because he was using top-notch mastering, he was using Bernie Grunman and that kind of caliber mastering engineers, Doug Sachs. We cut aside and deliver it to us, and we make a stamper, and it slips out of the hand of the guy mounting it into the press and ruins the stamper. That's on you, not me. That's on you. You need to get a recut, and you need to pay for it. We're not going to assume the risk of a large production of one step that could possibly have to be recut over and over again. Any lacquer that needs to be replaced, that's on you. We will make a new stamper for you and not charge you for it, but we're not going to pay for the additional lacquer cutting expense. So, the 2 and 3 step one thing about it is that it's kind of an insurance policy.
Yeah, you got it in the bank. That extra. Okay, I'll go back and we'll just make another.
Yeah. But you assume the risk. I used to tell them, if they're carrying the stamper from the plating department into the press room and trip and fall and it's ruined, it's on you. So, but he got it and he did it and
what about when was that? What year or so approximately? Yeah.
That was early 90s. Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah. Then it kind of was just quiet for quite a while, and there wasn't much going on in one step for us anyway. And then I went to we were interested in developing a super premium vinyl compound. And again, it wasn't necessarily our idea to do this, but Casey Gibson of TPC, what's the other? His company has like 3 names, but It's on all those bags out there we saw.
Oh God.
Anyway, uh, JC's great, but he's always, what can we do to make it better? What can we do to increase our sales, increase my sales, increase your sales? So Rick said, well, maybe we should look at making a super premium vinyl. So Casey and Rick really took off with that about Neotech.
Right, Neotech.
Yeah. Casey started developing formulas and getting small lots made to bring here to be tested. And Casey's great. He wants to be hands-on. He could come in here and with a bag of vinyl over his shoulder and just say, you got an open press? Yeah, right there. Okay, he'll go in there and he'll load it and he'll run it and make it all work. So he and Rick really took off with that, and then they were having some success, and then they would tweak something and it would shoot everything out of whack, and then they'd have to make changes, and it was quite a process. When they got to, I just said, well, let me know when you've got something that you're happy with, when you have something that you want me to hear, I'm good to listen to it. So they finally reached that point. We had a listening session, and I said, okay. I said, well, what do you want to do? And they were, well, where do we go? How do we do this? And it just crossed my mind at that time that I had a trip to Chicago coming up. And I said, well, hey, I'm going to be in Chicago next week. And if you want me to bring this up to the attention of Mobile Fidelity,
Jim
Davis, I'll be happy to do it and see what they say. So they said, okay. So I got back and we got enough material to do a decent amount of test pressings of their titles, their product, and then sent them to them, and they were very favorable. And then they said, well, we have an idea that we want to do. Not only do we want to put records out on this premium vinyl, but we want to do it in the one-step process.
And the rest, as they say, is history.
Yeah. But the first thought that came to me was, okay, you guys need to know.
Yeah.
This is expensive. Yeah. This is expensive material, and it is doing one substance is expensive because you might need, depending on if you're doing, they were commonly doing titles on 3-step at 5,000 or even 10,000, depending on the title. If you want to do a 1-step like that, you're going to need, dozens of stampers per title,
which means lacquers.
Yeah, exactly. So, and they were in a unique position because they had their own mastering. They have their own mastering studio. They had 3 mastering engineers on payroll full time, and so they had that, and that nobody else had, and you have let's say 6 sides or 6 lacquers per side, 4 sides, 24 lacquers cut from Bernie Grunman for a 1-step. You're paying the full price on all 24 of those lacquers. No volume discount that I'm aware of there. But at least it wasn't as expensive for them to get into doing.
Sure, because they had the mastering.
Yeah. So that worked in their favor. And the first one, the Santana
Abraxas, 2500.
2500, and within days of release, they were costing $2,500 on the resale market. That's what they were being priced for. It went through the roof immediately, and then the quantity kept going
increased.
Up. And then it was getting 15,000, and then of course it got to the 40,000.
The 40 was. That's when somebody whipped out a calculator. Go, wait a minute.
Yeah. So that's how it really came back, was through Mobile Fidelity. That was their idea, and then
but through things that you guys had been working on. Right. So how do I put it? They're in the foreground of finding out about it or putting it to market, but you were in the background actually with the formulation and the fact that you'd done that before so much.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to me to see where, looking at the DNA, who's the real father.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, they pulled one step to, at least as far as our involvement was, out of being completely dormant.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They marketed it. They brought it to prominence. There's no doubt. But it's like, half-speed mastering. People say, oh, well, Mobile Fidelity started. Well, they did, but they didn't. It was done for Quad to make CD4s to bring the carrier signal in because you couldn't do it 30,000 hertz, right? And then Decca had tested it in the 60s. So, you got to sometimes really look at the whole, the whole truth of it. But, it's a lot of origins. Like this room is acoustic. This room used to be acoustic. So Kevin would sit here at this very table and had a console and. So, a lot of great history. And I think that's the thing about it, the endurance of it all, especially in the fact of the way the market was and vinyl going away, quote unquote. So I credit a lot of what I wanted to bring you to my audience was just, I don't think they realize, really where some of these roots were and where, they kept it going. Guys like Michael Fremer kept it going on the journalism end, but you guys kept it going in the product end.
Right. Yeah.
And it all adds up to the fact that there still was an ability to produce it for the market.
And Michael's always been very supportive of us.
Sure. No, he's great. Absolutely.
Really great.
And I just, want to say for myself, the people here have been really wonderful. And I think you're a great leader, and I think that's why they're here, why they've been here so long. A lot of tenure, that's really important in a company. I always look for that, and really solid. So congratulations on that. And I think for the audiophile community, I want to say thank you. I just don't think people realize, you're a quiet guy. You're kind of in the background, but I always wanted to meet you to bring to the forefront some of these things. So I appreciate your hospitality.
I do like to go to the shows.
Yes. Like Exponent,
certainly, and going back to the stereophile shows and those sorts of things, because I absolutely love to hear records that we've pressed being demoed on some of those $1 million systems there. Yeah. And the people just their minds are blown, and I get a big kick out of that. So I do stay in the back when I'm listening there. When we got back together again in April in Chicago. With my son Nick and I were on that panel, and that's the first time I'd done anything.
Oh, like really? That was very interesting
at Exponent. But
great. It was very good.
But Michael was the leader. I've done panels with Michael at Making Vinyl and at Music Business Association annual events and things like that. But I hadn't done anything at Exponent, and
well, I'm glad I was there at the same time.
Yeah,
so it was
great. I was because we had
tried to connect with Chad. We had
through connected, but that was during all the May.
Yeah, no, I get you. It happened when it meant to. It was meant to happen.
So I was happy that as soon as you came up.
You were very open.
I knew exactly who you were, and I had a pretty good idea about what you wanted. So
Well, that's great.
yeah, so it all worked. I appreciate what you do.
Yeah,
So what
thank
you
you.
do for your listener or your viewers, and
Sure.
to put the word out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good. Great to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, there you have it. A business entrepreneur that, as I told you, came into a job as a temp for 3 days and then ended up staying until now and became owner of the company. A true American story. As always, thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so by clicking on the bell below, and a thumbs up or like is appreciated, as well as your comments. Stay tuned for some more great journeys on the Safe and Sound Texas audio excursion. Take care, everybody.